Okay, so if we speak of SAP and HCM, we'll have to know and get an understanding of the entire organizational setup and the hierarchies. And for that, we'll have an overview today, and then we'll start the configuration as well. And since we actually spoke of requirement gathering, this actually becomes a part of requirement gathering. Thing is, front end in SAP um, is basically the face of the enterprise. It will be a face of the enterprise. Okay. And you should know how the front end actually works, the process at the front end and the back end, and mapping that with that of your customers' processes and process set is of prime importance. Okay. Now, um, what we are actually looking at is the organizational structures that we'll be creating. Okay. And the organizational units that we'll create is going to be processed, or the workflow will be aligned through the front end. And these are some of the transactions that we'll go through today. Okay. Now, what we're looking at is just a layout, a raw layout right now. Okay. And once we actually have an organizational unit that will create, once our configuration is in place, then of course we'll get to filling up all of these details. For that, of course, we need an organizational unit, which will be a company, and it will have a controlling area. And of course, it will have one or multiple cost centers and internal orders. Now, what are these basically? I'll just briefly explain it, because if I go into details, it will be a bit challenging to comprehend. Okay, let me just share. Now, if we talk about the organizational hierarchy and structure and the layout, we actually start with a company, then comes company code. And before the company codes steps in, we have controlling area. And under the company code, we have plant, we have sales org, and for HCM, what do we have? We have a persona area, which is a geographical area. Then we have personal sub area, which is factory or an office or both. Okay. Now, why do we need a geographical personal area? Because a company can have presence in multiple cities or countries. And based on that, every country or every city or state will have its own jurisdiction for taxation, for payroll, for workforce management, and labor laws. Personal sub areas, why do we actually want or need to have multiple sub areas? Because factories actually work 24 hours. Okay. And offices actually work 8 to 10 hours. Okay. That, of course, will actually mean that the payroll will be segmented and there will be slabs for the organization. So this is how the layout is actually designed in SAP. Now, what is the relationship between a company, controlling area, company code? We must have the understanding for that as well. A company, this is a mother company, or say the group of companies. Okay, and this is actually leading that structure. Controlling area is basically management accounting in simple words. Okay, and controlling area basically is also responsible for costing, for profit center accounting, for cost center accounting. The same cost centers will be aligned over here with controlling area through cost centers. Company code is the operational financial unit, which actually creates and publishes its own financial statements like balance sheet and profit and loss. Plant is where material is actually stocked or manufactured or both. Okay. Sales org, where that same material as finished good is sold from. Okay. Now, personal area, again, this personal area will be directly communicating with the company or reporting to the company code. And within the personal area and personal sub areas, we have many more hierarchies. Okay. We will have departments. Under departments, we'll have jobs, and along with jobs, we'll have positions. Okay. Now, this is purely statistical. Okay. And this is occupied by real people. So under this, of course, we'll have employees defined. Okay. So what I'll do, I'll just copy this and paste it in your group so you can actually use it while you practice it. Okay. And you can actually keep it as a reference as well, just to understand how organizational hierarchies are defined in SAP. Now, I believe you'll have a little bit of um, alignment with controlling area, cost center, order, WBS element. Now, what is WBS element? We'll take it later on, not right now, because it's a little bit, I won't say complex, but a little twisted at this point of time, if we have to understand. Okay. Okay, now this is basically the layout of the organization. And if we speak of an organization, we'll have to pick one organization. It could be any manufacturing or retail or oil and gas company. And I was actually of the view that we can pick a company like Hasco or Cortex, right? These companies basically are oil and gas, and they have a complex organizational structure. And it's good to actually have an understanding of such industries. So then configuration of such complex companies will be easier to actually grasp the total perspective of SAP HCM. Okay. Okay. Now that we have actually seen a little bit of that, I'll go back again. Okay. We were into organizational management, the plan, and if you want to create an organizational unit, PO10 is where you actually create departments. And these departments are also created with relationships with the company. Okay. The list we are actually viewing over here is the info type. Now, info type is the heart and the soul of HCM in SAP. Okay. These info types are of prime importance because these will keep changing organization to organization and department to department. And of course, as a consultant, you will have to deal with these. Now, what are these relationships? Now, let's say I create an organizational unit. 01/01/2024, and this is the start and object organizational unit. Create info type. Just a second, I missed one thing. Okay, Cortex. Object, create info type, not found. Okay. Organizational unit, object type, PPSC is the transaction code. Organizational unit, Cortex. I'll have to change this validity period first. Come on, respond, please. It's slow in responding. So when we speak of the configuration, which is, of course, we're going to start with company, which is, of course, Cortex, and company code will be Cortex DXB Dubai. Okay. Plant will be the same, Cortex. So will be the sales org, and personal area will be Dubai, and personal sub areas will be factory plus office. Okay. All right. All right. This is a bit slow, unfortunately. So once we actually create and define all these units, then we'll assign these units. Assignment is nothing but integration. Integration as in this relationship, reporting that unit reporting to what unit above it. Okay. Now, for example, company company code will be integrated with company, and company code will be integrated with controlling area 01.01/2024. Create evaluation path. Inherits cost centers, all relationship to A. Anyways, we'll just choose it. It's not in evaluation. Okay, I mean, this is out of the configuration path yet. So we'll configure it first and then we'll look at it. Okay. So organizational unit will be creating this, and we'll create a hypothetical one so that we can actually understand how it is moving ahead. Okay. Caltex. Text. Okay. Caltex is the organizational unit, and priority, of course, it will be either 01 or 00 being at the top. Relationship. Now, this is very important. Relationship type and relationship. Now, Cortex will not report to any other organization. It is the mother company. Okay. And what will actually assign it? It is out of this list that we'll see belongs to or reports to, but 02 is the baseline. We'll keep it. Or we can actually use this part is line supervisor of. Okay, is line supervisor of, and what is and how it is actually functioning at the top is incorporates is line supervisor of, is superior of. We can use is superior of. Okay, and let's save it. Data fields have not been filled. Okay. Okay, now it actually wants the configuration to be there for the departments. That's why we don't have any node for Cortex right now. We'll do that. Once we are done with that, of course, then we'll be able to assign related object as well. Okay. just because this was an overview, that's why there might be a little bit of disconnect before the configuration. After the configuration, things will actually fall in place. Okay, now this is actually filled up and it has been worked on. The existence has been actually acknowledged by SAP. And of course, we'll look at jobs, positions, work centers as well. Okay. And if you look at personal management, in personal management, we have uh, personal development for training and development. In administration, we have personal actions. Actions are again part of an employee's features and data like personal details, qualifications. These are personal actions. And in actions, we have hiring as well. Okay. If you look at PA40, this is most used transaction. Let's pick up any random personal number right now. Okay, Felix Jr. Okay, the actions types basically will be what company, what personal area is it coming from? We'll have to actually look at that. Now, personal area. Okay, let me just give you an overview. Even if you actually get a little idea about this, it's all okay. Now, these are the personal areas like this: Benetton, Philadelphia, ad hoc, Abu Dhabi, personal area. Now, these are some of the units which, some of which have been actually configured by us, like Huawei Bahrain, okay, Indian model company, Andhra Pradesh, Maharashtra. So you see, personal area is a geographical area under which, of course, we will have employee groups and employee subgroups. Now, what are employee groups? Employee groups basically, these are categories of employees like active, retired, early retired, okay? And subgroups. Under these groups exist the subgroups, which is, for example, let me just put it over here in paper. Employee groups. Now, employee groups are active, retired, early retiree, okay? And consultant. After retirement, of course, they can be consultants or advisors, right? We can have this category. And under employee group, we have employee subgroups. Like active will have subgroups of salaried and hourly paid or contractors, right? Now, these are subgroups because each of these categories will have a different payroll methods, processes, taxation slabs, schedules, and of course actions that we speak that will happen in within SAP HCM. So I hope the hierarchy is a little bit clear to all of you. So let's now proceed to configuration. SPRO is the node, SAP reference IMG. We'll create the first node, that is company, then company code, and so on. Okay, the configuration will happen with company, company code, plant, and so on. So for that, now this is the backend where configuration for all the modules like finance, controlling, logistics, material management, sales distribution. For HCM, if we speak of, we have personnel management, time management, payroll, training and event management, and so on. Okay. And there are oceans in these nodes, basically. So we'll start with enterprise structure because we are about to start the enterprise structure. So we'll define a company through these nodes. Define company. Okay. New entries, Cortex, USA. Now, this is the mother company. Okay. country, US, language key English, currency USD, or let's keep it Euro for reporting sake. Let's say the management is European. Save. Enter. Okay. HCM config. Come on. Okay, now this is saved as a mother company. Okay. Now we'll create a company code. Okay. Edit company code data, new entries. It's pretty easy. It's pretty easy. Okay. Okay. CLTX. Politics. Dubai. Dubai. AE. AED. Shall we use AED or USD? English. Save. AE. Right. Now, search terms are very important because when you want to pull out uh, the organizational unit, you can actually type in the search field with these names. So you have to be maximum clear, and you should have the maximum keywords in that. Okay. Company code is done. Okay. Caltex Dubai is done. CLTX. And now, next part is not controlling, but next part is plant. Define plant, and we'll keep it synchronized as in coding. CLTX, Caltex Dubai, plant. Okay, save and AE. Caltex Dubai plant. This is also created. Okay. It's pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Location. New entries. Plant is CLTX. Location is DXB. Dubai plant. Now you can get an understanding how we are actually moving ahead. We're moving ahead as per the hierarchy. Company, code, plant. Now we'll create sales org and then HCM persona area. Sales and distribution. Define sales org. Sales org. CLTX. Okay. DXB. Okay. Currency, we don't need that. We already have a plant CLTX. Storage location, we don't have that right now. Okay, we'll just save it. Okay, this is done. So we're actually keeping the code for every unit the same so that the synchronization and integration will be easier for us. We'll create distribution channel sales or sales group later on because we just want to save time right now. Okay, materials management, storage location. This is important. It is because it is connected with the plant. VXB by. Okay, purchase organization, we'll do that later on. Okay. Human resource management, personal areas, create, oh, sorry, personal areas, new entries, CLTX, but this is CLTX Dubai. Shall we keep it contacts Dubai?
I have a question, please.
Yeah, sure.
Let's say Caltex has many branches, maybe in Dubai, one is in Abu Dhabi, one is in Sharjah. How
Okay.
will that reflect here?
Okay, that's a good question. That was what I was actually the dilemma I was facing over here because thing is, since we are actually into the learning part right now, I could have actually used numbering denominations over here like CL01, 02, 03. Okay, that would have made it easier. But since because I have only four places for alphabets and numbers, but if I had put in numbers over here, it would have made a little bit of complex in integration because once we actually go ahead with the configuration, it will get a little bit complex as well. So I'm keeping it simple. So right now we're just dealing with one location, not multiple. Because if we go into multiple, then of course there will be multiple configurations for that locations as well. Okay.
But is this a standard procedure to keep everything like you are doing a CLTX? Because while configuring, if we use everything as CLTX, it would be a confusing part that we wouldn't know that what kind of code we are using for
Okay.
which purpose.
Okay. Now, thing is, that's a very valid, genuine question. Thing is, I'm keeping it synchronized so that for the sake of understanding, for simplicity. Speaking of standard, again, it basically depends on the customer, on the client company, how they want to actually brand their organizational units in SAP. It's up to their intuition, up to their choice how they would do it. As a consultant, of course, we can only advise what could be better. Right now, for simplicity's sake, I am actually using very, very simple branded name CLTX so that we can actually identify during the configuration what we are going through. Okay. Now, if I
Got
go
it.
into
Thank you.
this, and I can copy organizational object as you said. Oh, this is personal sub areas. No, no, personal sub. Okay, sub areas. Let me go back to this again. I can copy this. Answering part of your question, copy organizational object, which is Caltex, to let's say personal area Abu Dhabi. Okay, so we can have a different name for that, CL01 or AE or AD, whatever. Okay, for a Sharjah, of course, it will be CLSH. So I'm keeping it universal so that it's easier to configure and easier to grasp. Okay. Now, sub areas. Now, what are sub areas? As I told you, factory and offices. Create personal sub areas, CLFC. Oh, personal area, sorry. CLTX. Okay, new entries, CLFC. No, CLFT. That is Caltex factory. CLOC, Caltex office. So in Dubai, we have two locations, which is one for a factory and one is for the office. All right. Okay. Are we good enough?
We are.
Yeah. Employee groups, new entries. Okay, we have active Benetton holders, Cortex. Okay, let's do this. Cortex active. This is active employees. Employee subgroups. Employee subgroup. Now, over here, what are employee subgroups? Salaried and hourly. Okay. So let's see if we have something in C. There should be something. Okay, we have C3, C4, CN hourly, CN regular. Okay, do we have something with CL? CL, we already have something. It's already C4. Okay. Um, CS and CH, CS and CH. Okay. Caltex hourly and Caltex salary. Okay. Now you must be thinking that am I actually changing uh, previously available or configured values, because since this is a training server, a play server, that's why it's already configured for some reason or the other. But in configuration, a real configuration server, of course, these areas are all empty, so you can actually define your own. But CH and CS will be easier to remember for me because the configuration for HCM goes a little bit complex, a little bit deep. So at that point of time, it will be a bit difficult to recall what did we actually create, because we are going to deal with subgroups and employee groups and many other subgroup groupings as well. So it will be difficult to recall if we have any other type of legends that we create for these categories. Save, and this is saved. Okay, I hope it's good for today. Yeah.